my job to catch you up, so let's not waste another minute. Settle in, sharpen your pencils, and check this out.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Happy Marvel Phase 5. Marvel just released a new trailer to herald the beginning of Marvel Phase 5, the end of Marvel Phase 4, so we'll break down what the overarching story is, how it's building into Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty, Avengers 6, Secret Wars. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming up. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Of course, I'll do videos for all this stuff. We're also doing an IMAX movie ticket giveaway for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania since it's coming out next. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, just post all your Marvel Phase 5 theories in the comments. As you probably guessed, the reason why they had Miss Minutes narrate the Marvel Phase 5 trailer is because she's going to continue to be a big character, not only in Loki Season 2, but also Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. I really hope that they actually use Miss Minutes to narrate the first trailer for Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. That'd be a good way of telling the Avengers that they're going to have to take an L on that one, like, oh, we're all screwed, Miss Minutes is back. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is meant to be the beginning of Marvel Phase 5, and that's why they're starting off going so hard with Kang the Conqueror. Like, he is going to stomp Ant-Man like a literal ant. Everybody thinks about that scene from the Avengers.
An ant has no quarrel with a boot.
You planning to step on us? Ant? Boot.
They want to let you know that shit is getting real, and that's why they're starting off with a movie like this. I will talk a little about Marvel Phase 6 movies during this, because Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 are Marvel Phase 6 movies, and the reason there's no Spider-Man movie in Marvel Phase 5 on the schedule here, they announced at Comic-Con, is because if you've been keeping track of all the dates of all the Marvel Phase 5 movies and series, you zoom in and enhance on when Captain America 4 and the Thunderbolts movie are coming out here, Spider-Man 4 isn't actually going to be released until 2025. They're reportedly going into production at the end of this year, with Tom Holland coming back, as you'd expect. It's going to be more of a street-level Spider-Man movie, like Amazing Spider-Man comic book type of movie. Really hoping they bring Daredevil back for a big role during that. Kingpin too. Kingpin versus Spider-Man would be awesome in the movies. And currently on the schedule, Deadpool 3 in November 2024 is meant to be the first Marvel Phase 6 movie. So that means that Spider-Man 4 is going to be a Marvel Phase 6 movie. Originally, Thunderbolts was meant to be the end of Marvel Phase 5 as of Comic-Con, but then they moved the Blade movie after Thunderbolts. That's coming out September 2024, and now that's the end of Marvel Phase 5. But the big difference between Marvel Phase 4 and Marvel Phase 5 is that Marvel Phase 4 was kind of the we're trying stuff out, like expanding the universe kind of phase, combined with a little bit of the COVID crunch. If you don't know what that is, basically what happened is because of the virus shutdowns, there were all these delays with all the movies, so a lot of people were trying to finish effects and cobble together movies as quickly as they could, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of the material, just in general, not just from Marvel, but from all movie studios released the last couple of years, just felt weaker in general, just on the whole, than movies released before that or after that the next couple of years. So for example, if it seems like Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 are coming relatively soon, the whole idea is that Marvel Phase 4 was never meant to last for that long. COVID shut everything down. Originally, it would have been like half as long as it was before. So a lot of it was just Marvel spinning its wheels, getting ready to do the really cool stuff in Marvel Phase 5 and Marvel Phase 6. Which is why it seems like Marvel Phase 5 is rolling so much harder than Marvel Phase 4 was. And during Phase 5, it's meant to create the need for the new Avengers team to form officially, and for that to start to happen in Captain America 4 New World Order. Like, that movie is meant to be our first official look on screen at the new Avengers actually meeting together. But there will be Easter eggs and teasers before that. Like, we've already had a couple teasers. There's still a couple Avengers who survived Avengers Endgame and are working together on teams together we saw in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, but according to Kevin Feige and the Marvel producers, in present-day MCU, after Avengers Endgame, the Avengers don't really exist as an actual team in the classic sense. They're all kind of off doing their own thing, and some of them just happen to be helping the others in an unofficial capacity. Really good example is Bruce Banner Hulk helping out Wong and Captain Marvel try to figure out what's going on with the 10 rings. I just did a video about that too, because based on the symbols on the 10 rings and the symbols on Kang's devices, it seems like Kang built the 10 rings of power in Miss Marvel's bangle, and that's where the signal inside them is transmitting to back to Kang in the quantum realm. I'll post a link to that longer video in the description below, because it's actually a pretty cool connection the way they're weaving some of this stuff together. The second big goal of Marvel Phase 5 is tied to the new Avengers forming, but it's all about the Dark Reign-inspired arc that's going to spin out of Secret Invasion, basically like a Rise of the Villains arc across all of Marvel Phase 5 movies and Disney Plus series, and all the chaos that that's going to bring to the heroes' lives. That's why it seems like Kang is rolling so hard on Ant-Man during the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer, because it's the rise of Kang, and he's like our first big villain. He's going to be the overarching villain replacing Thanos, basically. Secret Invasion is the first Marvel Phase 5 series, which sets off more of an Earth-based version of that, like Rise of the Villains plot within Earth, in an adaptation of the comic storyline where a group of evil Skrulls try to take over the planet. Nick Fury works with Talos, Olivia Colman is playing a version of Union Jack from the comics, and I believe the report is that Emilia Clarke is playing Talos' daughter. She's a Skrull too, one of the good ones, and that's why she looks human in the trailer. She's just pretending to be a human in all these scenes, and I believe she's involved with one of the evil Skrulls, and that's how she gets involved with the plot. In the comics, Dark Reign was the arc that came out of Secret Invasion. All the heroes, the villains on Earth work together to defeat the Skrulls, like it's us, planet Earth, versus the Skrulls, so it doesn't matter if you're a hero or a villain, we need to work together kind of situation. But it was Norman Osborn who took all the credit for defeating the Skrulls because he landed the kill shot on the Skrull Empress. It was captured on video by every news outlet on the planet, so everybody on the planet wound up seeing it, and he rode that wave of popularity that he got from it to take over S.H.I.E.L.D. He took over Iron Man's armory and repurposed it into his Iron Patriot armor, and it was the beginning of villains ruling the planet, but doing it above board in the light of day. Like Norman Osborn replaced the Avengers with his own Dark Avengers that were all stabbier, anti-hero, or full-blown villain versions of the characters. It'd be like replacing the Avengers with a bunch of ex-cons. Way more hardcore, way stabbier than the regular Avengers. They collectively exploited their positions, their power to their own personal gain, turned Earth into something akin to a fascist police state, basically. And interestingly enough, the end of comic book Dark Reign, like the end of Norman Osborn's reign of terror, so to speak, happened when he tried to invade New Asgard, which was on Earth like it is in the movies, against the expressed orders of the US president. The Sentry wound up going full void after his dark persona took over, destroyed New Asgard, and then Thor wound up killing him. In the aftermath of that, the US president wound up firing Norman Osborn and replacing him with Steve Rogers, Captain America, and it became the beginning of the heroic age of Marvel, which was sort of like a rebirth era for all the heroes coming back and trying to make everything right in the world again. So they're kind of doing a version of this in the MCU, just swapping some of the characters and adapting some of the story so that it fits with what they've already done. They're giving all the Norman Osborn plot to Thunderbolt Ross, who they've recast with Harrison Ford, if you didn't hear about it, because William Hurt passed away recently, and they metaphorically and literally have these big plans for Thunderbolt Ross, and they don't want to just give that to another character. So now what's happening during their MCU version of Dark Reign in the wake of Secret Invasion is that Thunderbolt Ross will eventually become the President of the United States by the events of Captain America 4, and also by then he will have been turned into the Red Hulk. They had a couple Easter eggs for this during She-Hulk, and I've talked a little bit about the things that they're pulling together for this. For instance, the leader is the main villain of Captain America 4. In the comics, he was part of the intelligentsia with MODOK, who they're also introducing in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and they're the ones that actually turned Thunderbolt Ross into Red Hulk. I don't know if they're going to bring MODOK back in Captain America 4. That would actually be pretty cool. But I think they have plans to have the leader be one of the people to turn Thunderbolt Ross into Red Hulk in the MCU. A lot of the Marvel Phase 4 movies and series have had teasers that they'll pay off in Marvel Phase 5. Some of it they won't pay off fully till Marvel Phase 6, like a lot of it is teasing Kang the Conqueror. But the whole idea is that MCU, Thunderbolt Ross and Val, sees way more power in the United States in the wake of Secret Invasion. She's already the director of the CIA as a Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which makes her incredibly powerful to begin with. And once Thunderbolt Ross becomes president, they basically take control of Congress and start doing whatever they want, just using the power however they want. Like blank check, let Val do whatever she wants to do. She's also continuing the Weapons Plus program, which is where the Sentry is coming from. He's meant to be the main villain of the Thunderbolts movie, and he's one of the Weapons Plus in the comics. And reportedly, they're also introducing adamantium on Tiamat's body, the celestial that's jutting out of the Indian Ocean. They're finally paying off that Eternals ending. And she'll use the Thunderbolts to try and go steal, like it turns into a race of nations to try and claim all the celestial resources available there, because the celestial body would just be brimming with all kinds of resources for people to exploit. And they'll probably wind up using some of the adamantium that they steal to create a new MCU version of Weapon X with a new actor later on in Marvel Phase 7. I do think that they'll wait till after Hugh Jackman comes back in Deadpool 3 and Avengers Secret Wars as his Wolverine to debut a new actor as MCU Wolverine. I still think that they're going to wait till after Avengers Secret Wars to do the X-Men reboot movie, which means Marvel Phase 7, and Marvel Phase 7 will also be the beginning of a totally different saga, remember. So it goes Infinity Saga, which is all about the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos for Marvel Phase 1 through 3. Then the Multiverse Saga is Marvel Phase 4 through Marvel Phase 6, all about Kang and his variants. I think the next saga, Marvel Phase 7 to Phase 9, is either going to be a new version of the Phoenix Saga because of all the X-Men stuff that they're going to do after Secret Wars. It'll be like a much larger universe-spanning storyline, closer to what you saw during X-Men the Animated Series, but with all the other Avengers characters too. Or they could delay that, like wait to do Phoenix Saga and do a Galactus Saga before that. Because I do think that they're waiting on doing Galactus longer so they can do a much bigger, longer version of the character, and he won't just be like a one-off Fantastic Four villain. For example, for those of you that are eager to see Galactus, there are actually deleted scenes from Thor Love and Thunder that had Jane Foster's Thor fighting a version of Galactus. Like, this looks just like Galactus. So it sounds like they were going to use him in some comedic way, and I'm kind of glad that the scene didn't wind up in the movie. No one wants to see them do Galactus dirty again like they did in the original Fantastic Four movies. But as we get more trailers and teasers for everything that's happening in Marvel Phase 5 and Phase 6, of course I'll do more videos. If you have any big questions about what's going on just in general, like the bigger storylines or bigger villains, just write them below in the comments. I've got a couple big videos that I'm working on for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, more Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania and Kang videos. Everyone click here for that brand new trailer video, and click here for my new Mandalorian Season 3 trailer video and Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.